Hey everybody, it's Gordon Majak here, back with another episode of Timeless Pop, Rock, and Soul. And today we are going back to the early 80s to that Southern California pop sound. Before we do that, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you think of all this great music. I love reading your comments and I love replying to them as well. So please participate and let me know what you think. Now, the other day, we played a song by Glenn Frey, of course, the famous Eagle, and from his first solo album in 1982, a song called The One You Love. And after that video, I was thinking about some of the other songs that I sort of associate with that early 80s LA pop rock scene there, because a lot of those artists at that time that were still having hits and still releasing albums into the early 80s, a lot of those artists were what you would call legacy artists that had been around since the 70s, or in the case of this artist today, actually even since the 60s. So, who are we talking about in this example? We are talking about the great Linda Ronstadt, and this is her 1982 album, Get Closer. Now, Linda Ronstadt, we could spend a whole show just talking about all of her awards and honors and everything that has been bestowed upon her, and justifiably so, because she had such an amazing career before she was unfortunately forced to retire prematurely here about 10 or 11 years ago due to her various health challenges that have prevented her from singing ever again. And what a tragedy that is. But when we talk about Linda Ronstadt's career, we go back to 1967, and her first group there, the Stone Ponies, and their breakthrough song was a thing called Different Drum. That was 1967. Well, by 1970, Linda Ronstadt was getting ready to go out on tour, and her manager suggested some local musicians there that might be a good backup band for her. And that included a couple guys named Glenn Frey and Don Henley. And they famously were told by Linda Ronstadt, hey, you guys are pretty good together. You should consider forming a group of your own. Eagles. Yeah, good call, Linda. The funny thing about Linda Ronstadt's career is as you look at the genres of music that she moved through and how expertly she nailed all of these styles of music, it's really pretty crazy. You know, when she started out, Linda Ronstadt started out there in the late 60s, she was considered a country artist. Now that sort of morphed in the first few years there into more of a country rock vibe as the country rock label got some traction down there in Southern California. That eventually became just rock, and then that became pop, and then that became eventually for Linda, adult contemporary. But after this album, 1982, the next thing you know, she's doing 3 records with the great Nelson Riddle, and she's doing big band and standards. And then the next thing you know, she's on Broadway doing The Pirates of Penzance. And then the next thing you know, she's doing traditional Mexican music. And in all of these cases, she is fantastic. Linda Ronstadt, I don't think, ever met a genre or a type of song that she could not sing, and sing exceedingly well. Now, just like Glenn Frey, it's 40 years since this song came out that I'm playing for you today. And when I hear this song now, 40 years later, here's what I'm left with for Linda Ronstadt. We're talking about a voice. That voice, the tonality, the timbre of that voice, the richness of that voice. The reality is that Linda Ronstadt was just blessed with an incredible instrument. But the truth of the matter also, when you start looking at all of those different genres that she had mastered, as I've said, what you really have with Linda Ronstadt is not just a great voice, you have an exceptional singer, exceptional technique, exceptional control. And here we go again, chops, right? And this happens every time we talk about the real greats, because it's always with the greats, with the legends, it's always a fantastic instrument paired with the knowledge of how to use it and the connection to the heart with the emotions. And in Linda Ronstadt's case, I think that is the key to her mastery of so many genres. Linda, yes, she's got an extraordinary voice, but that voice, there's a certain intuitive, I don't even know how to explain it, a connection that Linda Ronstadt was able to make between the instrument, her voice, and the emotions that she feels inside of herself, between her heart. There's a connection between her heart and the music. And the reason I say that is because she draws from such a palette of color and the subtleties of emotion, and she knows how to ratchet her voice just at the right times. It might be holding a note, it might be cutting off a note, it might be playing with the pitch a little bit, it might be the intensity. In this particular song, you're going to see how she uses the most minute adjustment of volume on her voice to just drive the emotional impact of this song, which is in its own right, it's a very understated song. It's a very laid back, very understated, sort of a slow burn kind of a song, right? And there's Linda Ronstadt, absolute top of her game. Linda Ronstadt, slow burn. Oh, she'll do a slow burn, all right. And all you have to do is go back and look at throughout her career. She's done so many incredible remakes and covers, obviously, because she's such a masterful interpreter. And every songwriter that was anybody back in the day, you get Linda Ronstadt to sing your song, and that's as good as gold, right? Because she had such an ability to interpret other people's material. And again, it wasn't just the gift of interpretation. We're talking about conquering so many different genres because she did so many different types of music. She did everything, as we said, country, rock, soul, pop, adult contemporary, big band and standards, traditional Mexican music. I mean, she's all over the board in a good way in terms of her material. And that voice and that emotional connection, she was able to nail all of it. Now, this song today came from her album Get Closer in 1982, and similar to the Glenn Frey album the other day that I told you about. When I bought the Glenn Frey album, I was pretty disappointed overall in the album, but it was immediately clear to me that song, The One You Love, was the best song on the album. Now, I think the Linda Ronstadt album, Get Closer, is a better album than the Glenn Frey album overall, not comparing the albums. But I had a similar experience in the sense that when I first heard this Linda Ronstadt album, it was immediately clear to me that this song was the sleeper great song on the album. And of course, the record company promptly went out and released something else as the debut single. I think they released the title track, Get Closer, and that was sort of a moderate hit. And they eventually got around to this one several months later, there in early 1983. And Linda, I think, took this one up to number 7 on the AC chart there in 1983. But it's that slow burn, when you listen to some of those great remakes that she did back in the day with those soul tunes, Tracks of My Tears and Ooh Baby Baby and Hurt So Bad. Hurt So Bad. Wow. I almost picked that one for today because what a performance on that song. But Linda just is able to conquer so many of these different idioms and so many of these different vibes and different genres because I think she's had such a deep emotional connection with her voice that she could draw from that palette and basically just paint with her voice. And of course, she's got that tone where there's certain parts of her range when she hits that note dead on, she will knock you over. From 1982, it is the great Linda Ronstadt doing a Jimmy Webb song called Easy for You to Say.
I heard some talk around this town, talk about you and me. How fools fell in love with you, wanted to be free. Well, that's easy for you to say, that I love the way I'm doing, that I fell away, and let my life been ruined. That's easy for you to say. I read your letter again. I'm sure you know the one. Goodbye, you said like a coward. It'll be better in the long run. Well, that's easy for you to say, that I know what I'm doing, that I fell away, let my life been ruined. That's easy for you to say.
I hate to pause it, but I got to just for a second so we don't get blocked. Now listen here, coming up, when they come out of this break, listen to how Linda uses the slightest increase in volume on her voice. She just turns up the volume at the right moment, just slightly, but just enough to send these lyrics home. Listen to this just incredible singing and incredible technique and that emotional connection. Her voice goes straight through her heart.
Go back to her again, back to the way you were. She's a damn sight better for you. You're a damn sight better for her. Well, that's easy for you to say, that I know what I'm doing, when you throw love away, let my life been ruined. That's easy for you to say.
This song is so understated. I mean, I wasn't going to play it again. Actually, you know, her band is just so chill and so laid back and so supportive on this one. But it's those little adjustments in her voice and the way she opens her voice up, just the tiniest little bit there for some of those, to emphasize some of those lyrics. Man, oh man. Linda Ronstadt, the great Linda Ronstadt. Now, you know, she had quite a run in her career here. 1967, her last album was in 2004. She performed her last concert in 2009, and of course, sadly, because of her health issues, was forced to retire prematurely, by all accounts, in 2011. And what a crying shame, because Linda Ronstadt, I had so many of her records and loved so many of her records. Of course, the great Heart Like a Wheel album back there in 1974, that was a great one. The album there in the late 80s, Cry Like a Rainstorm, that had all those great Aaron Neville duets on it. This album was a good album. The stuff she did with Nelson Riddle, the stuff she's done with Dolly Parton and Emmylou Harris. Linda Ronstadt, easy for you to say. Now, we are coming back in the next video. I'm going to do one more little chapter of this sort of Southern California sound there from the early 80s, and it's another artist that's actually fairly connected to Linda Ronstadt. Thank you so much for your continued support. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Don't miss that next one. We're going to wrap up this little Southern California pop thing we got going on here before we depart into other musical areas. That will be in the next video. Now, let's see what kind of a response we get right here. Nope.